Okay, if you're stuck at a certain level of income, or you've started a coaching business and you're stuck at your first product, you're stuck trying to get your first dollars coming into your business, today we're going to get unstuck. So the big question is this: how is a tiny percentage of entrepreneurs blow the pack away? What are they doing that we're not? I asked myself that question for 10 years. I was failing forward and getting sick of it. I wanted to build a coaching business, but couldn't make any headway. So I started studying it. I realized that the world's most elite marketers, entrepreneurs, and gurus were all using the same 4-step system. I call it the authority factor. On the show, I'm going to prove to you that the authority factor worked for them and it'll work for you. My name is Ken Dunn. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I want to spend a few minutes with you today and talk about one of the most common problems that I see in getting started in coaching businesses. And I got to tell you, this is a problem that plagued me for over 5 years. I think about when I got started in coaching, it was right on the heels of an incredibly successful business. I used to be in the mortgage industry, and I made millions of dollars in the mortgage industry, and I decided to leave it one day and sold that business and start on a new venture. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to help other people with a very specific problem. In prior to starting the mortgage company, I was a cop for 15 years, and I ended up going deep into neurolinguistic programming and police interrogation. Couple those experiences and successes with running my own business to the tune of $300 million in revenue. I really believed that I had figured out how to generate leads and how to generate sales in my own business. And so I decided to start a coaching business and help other people do the same things. I wanted to help small business owners to scale revenue. And you know what the craziest part about this is the first 4 years after I decided I was going to do it, I didn't land a single client. I didn't land a single sale. And I was really freaking stuck. And it was driving me crazy. I was burning through hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was living off my savings. And I couldn't figure out how to fix the problem. But I did. I did fix the problem. And what happened was the breakthrough for me was actually finding a book in an airport called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. And the book was related to what I was trying to accomplish. So I bought the book. When I read the book, I realized that the author of that book was the person I was looking for. I needed a coach in my life. And I didn't realize that in the beginning. But I went back to my assistant at the time. We're talking about 2007, and I asked her to find the guy. And as luck would have it, actually I believe luck is God's way of staying anonymous, to be honest with you, but as God would have it, Nick had just a few years before moved to Toronto, Canada. Now what's really ironic about this is he's from England. In his 20s he moved to Portugal, then he moved to South Africa, then he moved back to Portugal. Then he moved to Canada like 3 years before this, and I found myself sitting with him the next day in a coffee shop. And this is not the first time you've heard me talking about this. This is a story I tell quite a bit because this was my breakthrough. This was how I finally got going on the right path, was that conversation. But I was realizing there's something about that conversation that I never really focused on before. In this aspect of how to get unstuck in your business. And so if you're with me right now and you've decided that you're going to build a coaching business, you're already building it, but you're just stuck at there's really 3 different levels that you're going to be stuck at. Number 1, it's deciding you're going to do it and knowing you have a skill set that you want to help other people with, but not knowing where to get started. That's getting stuck. The second is designing your first offer, launching your first offer, getting a couple sales, but that's it. You're stuck there. You don't know how to get more. You don't know how to automate it or get more than one sale. And then the third stuck, friends, is $20,000 to $30,000 a month. $20,000 to $30,000 a month. You would not believe the amount of people that get stuck at that level. The reason you get stuck at that level is each one of those 3 points in the journey, your business needs a different skill set. So when you're first getting started, the skill set that you need to develop is, how do I figure out what my first product is. How do I build my first product? How do I start selling my first product before I waste time building it? And getting those things down will get revenue start coming in. Once you figure out what that is and how to do that, the next place you're going to get stuck is, how do I automate this first product so that it'll just keep selling itself around the clock? And then to get to 20 or 30,000 a month, you're going to have an ascension model. Go back through my shows here and you'll find lots of shows where I talk about building your client journey, and I talk about putting together an ascension model, which means after they come in with the first product, you just naturally sell them into a higher level product because they want to be closer to you. They want to get more help directly from you. This is the magic of any online coaching business. The reason so many people get stuck at $20,000 to $30,000 a month is, again, it takes a different skill set. You have to bring other people into your business at this point. You have to empower those people to help you and then get out of their way and let them help you. Let them use their expertise. And you've got to build a vision, some type of forward looking into the future vision for how you're going to change the world together. And you have to sell those people on that vision. Totally different skill set again. So what's the secret to getting unstuck? Now, you've probably, listening to this, identified where you're stuck in the journey. What's the secret to getting unstuck? I'll tell you what it is. In all of our time together, the one thing that I've focused on more than anything else is building a framework up front. Now, before you start rolling your eyes and say to yourself, oh, here we go, Ken's going off on his client journey again, I want you to stick with me on this because I want you to think about this from a different perspective. A framework or a client journey, whatever you want to call it, it has to be the foundation for your business. So whenever I talk to somebody who is stuck, the very first thing I always get from them, I ask them, okay, what's going on in your business right now? And I always ask them, did you ever sit down and build a framework for your business, a client journey? Did you ever sit down and figure out who is the person you want to be marketing to? What's the journey you're going to take them on? And what's the outcome? And 95% of the time they say, no, I never did that. So I asked them to tell me, okay, how did you start your business? And they always say the same thing. I know I wanted to help this person do that, and I just came up with an idea, and I tried it because of something I saw. That is a recipe for disaster. Everything that you want to do in your business, you want it to be methodical, and you want it to be orchestrated. You want it to be intentional. So what you do is you build a framework up front for your business. And a framework, really simply, you ask yourself, who is your ideal client? Where are you taking them to? And what are the steps to get them there? And then you go back to each step and you write out every single freaking detail that you can possibly think of for each step in that journey. And write it out on paper so you can look at it. Because, friends, that is going to fix the unstuck. So as soon as you look at that journey, here's what most people have done that are launching coaching businesses that I've talked to in the past about this. That initial framework, they run out and they turn it into a coaching program, or they turn it into an online course, and they throw everything that they could possibly think of into that first program. And I know it is a reality because that's what I did. My very first program, when I launched my coaching business, finally, online that is, back in 2014, was a program called First 1,000 Books. And it was teaching people how to sell 1,000 books. But I threw everything I knew into it. And I struggled trying to sell that first program for about 2 years. And I spent tens of thousands of dollars in paid advertising and all kinds of different tactics that people were teaching me to sell it. But what I didn't realize was my ideal clients who were listening to my pitches, they were getting so overwhelmed by all the information that it stopped them from buying. The overwhelmed mind takes no action. Luckily for me at the time, I had a mentor. His name was Russell Brunson. You guys probably have all heard his name. And I was really close to Russell in the inner circle at the time. He had just launched it. And I went to him with my challenge, and he said, it's really simple. Look at what you're trying to teach people. Now go back through your client journey and ask yourself if there was one thing inside of this framework that you could teach people and they could get a result with quick, within 7 to 10 days. And because they get that result, they're going to want to invest more in you. They're going to want to go further in the journey. So that initial result will prove your worth to them. Friends, that's what you got to do. If you're stuck right now because you can't figure out where to get started, do that. Go look through this channel, find the other episodes where I'm talking about the client journey in detail and how you figure out what that first product is. But do that. Now, the second stuck in a business is, how do you get that first product selling? How do you get that first product scaling? How do you automate that first product? It's really simple. You need paid traffic in order to automate it. You need to have an entire systemized approach. That's Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads. You need, and now TikTok ads even. You need ads running on those platforms into an automated sales funnel so that people can go through a review, lead themselves to a buying decision because of the system you put in place, and buy. And friends, there is a significant amount that goes into automating a product. You go out there and 10 different gurus are going to tell you it's the easiest thing in the world to do, and you just need to do this and connect this to this, and boom, sales keep flowing. It is incredibly difficult. You've got to make sure that whatever you're trying to automate, you first sold it live on workshops and you were getting 20% of sales. If you don't get to 20% of sales in automation, it is not going to work as well. It's not going to get truly automated. And then once you get that set up and you have traffic running to that offer, over 60% of the sales are made because of email sequences that happen afterwards, automation. So they sign up, but they don't watch it right away. So you got to have the right emails and text messages in the place, taking them back to the presentation at a time that's more convenient for them. So once you get all that stuff set up, then that automation will work. That's probably, for people that start to make money, that's probably their biggest challenge, is figuring out the right type of product to automate. And if that's your challenge right now, in the notes to the show, there's a link to a workshop that I'm doing. And that workshop is called Get Paid Helping Others. And that's really the big thing that we focus on. I show you how to find your right product, launch your first product, and then how to automate that first product so you get people coming in the front door. That'll easily get you to $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000. That third place where you're going to get stuck, getting people in place. I go over that too in the workshop. So click on that link and definitely sign up and come to that workshop. But let me explain it to you right now. You got to get people in place to help you. You've got to get people in place to help you. And you know what's really fascinating about this is before I really understood how to do this, I knew that I needed to find people to help me. And I started going out and putting ads in newspapers. I started using Monster and other staffing websites to find people. And I started hiring people to my team. And I started sharing the vision with them, or where I wanted to go with this, and the people that I wanted to help and how this was going to work. And they buying into the vision, but they would never, ever, like I probably hired, the first 10 people that I hired to help me all failed. Then I realized that I was building this community, and I had hundreds of customers and clients in this community that were buying into my programs and that were loving what we were doing. And sometimes it really hurt me seeing this with some people, because they were amazing people. They were my favorite people in the whole community, but for some reason or another, their businesses weren't growing. And in a couple cases, they weren't even really trying to build their businesses. But what was really fascinating about these people is they never missed a live coaching call. They were on all my calls. They were at all the events. They were my biggest fans. And what I realized was those were the people I should be hiring, that I should be partnering with, that I should be building my business with, because they believed so deeply in me. They believed so deeply in my mission that they wanted to be part of the team. They wanted to be part of my team. That's why they were there. They were just waiting for me to give them the signal. It's like they were sending me messages saying, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play. And so I started approaching those people. And now I have this team that's scaling of people that I'm letting join our team. They started off as my students. They understand my business better than anybody else because they've been on all the calls. They know my personality. They know I'm true to my vision, and they want to work with me. And then slowly, one by one, methodically, I brought some of those people on the team. I started them off as coaches. They eventually ended up becoming product managers. And now they're running their own programs inside of my company. They're my programs, but they're their programs too. And that's the way they feel about them. So friends, if you really want to scale a 7 or an 8-figure business, then for gosh sake, start off by putting that framework together. Find the product to start with. Don't try and sell everything you know up front. Find a product in your framework that people get a result quickly. And then build a value ladder, a real ascension model where you can say, okay, when they came in and they buy this first thing, what's the next thing I want to sell them? Meeting people where they're at up front. Now, you're gonna see lots of coaches that say, well, it's easier to start with a high-ticket item. It's easier to start with this. I like making it easy for the customer to make a buying decision. I like this model that I'm talking to you about. It will stop you from getting unstuck at all the parts of the journey. It'll make things easier for you, and it'll lessen the stress for you. It really will help you to get unstuck if you follow this framework I just laid out for you. Now, step 1 in the framework is come to that workshop. It's in the notes. If you haven't done it, if you're even in my community and you haven't seen it yet, go to authorityfactor.info and I will show you how to get unstuck. Hope this helps, friends. We'll see you soon.